The Aurelia drifted like a silver mote through the cerulean expanse, its hull shimmering under the violet glow of distant ionized gases. Inside, corridors hummed with low-frequency vibrations, signs of life in a region where no life was known to dwell. At the heart of the ship's laboratory, Dr. Marisol Chen hovered over a hexagonal console, eyes gleaming with fierce anticipation. "Activation sequence in T-30 seconds," announced Lieutenant Kavita Rao from the opposite station. Her voice, calm and precise, belied the rapid pulse in her throat. Marisol's fingers danced across the hollow keys. Lines of molecular code coalesced into luminous symbols above the reaction chamber. This wasn't just any experiment. This was humanity's first attempt to communicate chemically with an intelligence not bound by flesh or silicon, but by the very fabric of thought. The catalyst of communion, colloquially dubbed the Source, was about to be unleashed. Around them, the 6 senior officers formed a half-circle. Navigator Youssef El Amin monitored stellar cartography, scanning for any anomalous readings. Dr. Annika Brenner, biophysicist, adjusted the temperament regulators. On her wrist, Chief Engineer Raul Ortega stood by the power conduit, ready to divert emergency reserves. Even Lazarus, the ship's AI, materialized on the central holoscreen, his cobalt avatar eyes flickering. "Stand by to record all environmental fluctuations," Lazarus intoned. He was more than code. He was sentinel, scribe, protector. Marisol inhaled, recalling her countless nights poring over xenobiological theories, questioning whether chemical dialects could bridge consciousness across the void. "All systems green," she confirmed. "Proceed with emission." With a hiss of supercooled gas and a roll of harmonic frequencies, the reaction chamber doors slid open. A silver mist formed within, shimmering with iridescent hues as nanoparticles aligned into intricate patterns. Then, as if choreographed by a cosmic conductor, the mist streamed upward through the launch tube and out into the black. Moments later, the Aurelia's sensors lit up. A pulse, faint but undeniable. Every display blinked in unison. Youssef's eyes widened. "We've got something." Marisol rushed to his console. On the spectral readout she saw it, an echo of her transmitted signal, transformed. But there was something else, a modulation beneath the surface, an undercurrent of rhythm that resonated deep in her bones. "Lazarus, amplify the signal," she demanded. The AI complied, weaving digital threads to isolate the reply. As the pattern unfurled, an eerie stillness fell over the lab. The usual hum of reactors, the soft whir of environmental controls, even the whisper of recycled air, all seemed to mute. "It's as if the entire ship is holding its breath," Kavita murmured. Outside, the viewport, stars flickered. One by one they dimmed, not extinguished but hushed as if silenced. The nebula's violet tendrils paused in their silent dance. "My God," whispered Raoul, voice trembling. "The stars, they've stopped." Marisol's heart hammered. She stared at the holo display, where the reply now coalesced into something, both mathematical and musical. There were no words, only a waveform of staggering complexity, its peaks and troughs echoing with emotion, wonder, longing, perhaps even loneliness. "You hear that?" Anika placed a gloved hand on the console. "It's sorrowful." Marisol leaned closer, feeling a tingle at the back of her skull, as if the waveform was not merely data, but a living pulse brushing against her neuron pathways. She thought of the billions of humans on Earth waiting for this moment, waiting to find out whether intelligence lurked among the stars. And here, in this cathedral of silence, the universe itself had replied. "Prepare a full cryptographic deconstruction," she ordered. "I want to understand every nuance." Kavita nodded, her fingers dancing over the interface. But even as the crew worked, Marisol felt an unsettling truth settle in her chest. They had woken something ancient, something that looked not with eyes nor spoke with voice, but conversed in the language of creation. On the bridge, the screen showed the stars' luminescence dropping in real time. Energy readings from the nebula are off the charts, Youssef reported. Magnetic fields are fluctuating. Ambient gravity's skewing, Raoul added. Hull integrity's stable, for now. Marisol swallowed. The source reached farther than we ever intended. We've invited the very soul of the galaxy to listen, and it answered. Lazarus's avatar flickered, then spoke with solemn clarity. Directive update. We must proceed with caution. Unknown cognitive entity detected. She nodded, her breath steadying. Agreed. Initiate silent protocol. No further transmissions until we've fully analyzed this reply. As the lab lights dimmed to red alert, Marisol stepped to the viewport. The cerulean expanse stretched out like a veiled promise, its muted stars waiting. The vastness whispered, of mysteries beyond reckoning. In that moment, Marisol understood the weight of her invention. The catalyst of communion was no mere tool, it was a key. And she had just unlocked the silence at the heart of the universe. Above her, the Aurelia, hung poised between awe and dread. And somewhere out there in the velvet dark, an entity listened. The laboratory's crimson-red emergency lights cast long shadows over the consoles as the Aurelia groaned under the weight of a silence more profound than the void itself. Systems that once hummed in reassuring cadence now whispered faintly, as though straining not to disturb whatever had answered the source's call. Dr. Marisol Chen stood at the center of the room, bathed in that muted glow, her eyes fixed on the hollow display where the alien waveform undulated like a living thing. Lieutenant Kavita Rao leaned in, tracing its peaks and troughs. "This isn't a simple echo," she said. "It's layered, multiple channels of modulation, each one interacting in harmonics. It's musical." Her voice trembled with excitement and trepidation. "I've never seen an intelligence use sound and math so seamlessly." Marisol exhaled slowly. "Lazarus, cross-correlate these channels with every known acoustic and mathematical pattern in our archives. Prioritize natural phenomena, pulsars, magnetars, planetary resonances, anything." The AI's avatar flickered in acknowledgement, then cascaded through databases at speeds no human mind could match. Around them, the air grew cold. The lab's environmental controls fought to maintain temperature as external magnetometric readings spiked. Dr. Anika Brenner checked her wrist-mounted readout. Magnetic flux is off the charts. It's like the entire cerulean expanse is resonating with that signal. She glanced at Marisol. "If we don't dampen these fields, the ship's core could destabilize." Marisol nodded grimly. "Initiate field isolation protocols, segregate the lab systems from the main grid. We need time to understand what we've triggered." Sparks flickered as Kavita rerouted power, and the lab's hum retreated further into silence. At the viewport, navigator Youssef El-Amin pressed his hand against the reinforced glass. The nebula beyond, once a blur of violet and cerulean swirls, now lay eerily still. Stars that had blinked with living radiance now glowed with the faintest ember of light, tone-deaf to the cosmic symphony playing through space. "It's as if the galaxy itself is holding its breath," Youssef murmured. "I can't detect any background radiation fluctuations. No cosmic microwave noise. No gravitational murmurs. Nothing." He tapped the console. "It's a blank slate out there." Chief Engineer Raul Ortega strode into the lab, gaunt under the emergency lights. "Field isolation is holding, but if this continues, we'll burn through reserves. We'll need to shut down non-essential systems soon." He met Marisol's gaze. "What exactly are we dealing with?" Marisol turned back to the hollow display. The waveform's layers had begun to coalesce into patterns, fractal spirals of sound and number, cycling through sequences too complex for the AI's first pass. "An entity speaking in the language of creation," she whispered. "Not just data, but the very architecture of reality. It's showing us how it organizes existence." A hush fell over the lab as the crew absorbed the scope of that revelation. The idea that the universe could possess a conscious voice, an intelligence woven into its physical laws, was staggering. It meant that the source had not merely found company among the stars, it had stirred the cosmos itself. Suddenly, the hollow display flashed. Lazarus had identified a correlation. "Doctor, I'm comparing the primary channel to the frequency patterns of galactic pulsars," the AI announced. "There is a 0.0002% match to the emission profile of PSR B0531+21, the crab pulsar. However, the secondary channels align with the oscillation modes of several planetary magnetospheres." The avatar's mouth curved into what might pass for concern. "Collectively, these patterns form a harmonic series that cannot occur naturally. This is deliberate." Marisol felt a thrill of exhilaration tempered by dread. "So it's responding on two levels, cosmic and local. It's both the song of the galaxy and the whisper of its worlds." She closed her eyes, imagining the tapestry of voices that must lie hidden in every corner of space. We're listening to the sum of all those voices, folded into one message. Kavita placed a steadying hand on her shoulder. "What does it want from us?" Marisol opened her eyes, their pupils reflecting the waveform's shifting glow. "It wants to know who we are, and whether we belong in this silent concert. We'll need to craft a reply that resonates on every level, scientific, emotional, existential." She turned back to the team. "Begin composing a multi-channel response. We'll send not data alone, but the essence of humanity's symphony, our stories, our dreams, our doubts." As the crew set to work, the Aurelia drifted in profound stillness, its hull reverberating with the pulse of a cosmic heartbeat. The stars might have fallen silent, but within the ship, a new harmony was rising, a fragile, daring chord that would define humanity's place in the universal chorus. Hull lights shifted to soft amber as the Aurelia's main airlock cycled open. Outside, the cerulean expanse stretched into obsidian infinity, pierced by the faint thrum of the alien resonance. Lieutenant Kavita Rao led the sortie in magnetically stabilized EVA rigs, her visor HUD tracing the signal's gradient like a topographical map. Behind her, Marisol Chen, Youssef El Amin, and Raul Ortega followed, each tethered to the ship by braided steel lifelines. The void felt alive. Every step toward the signal's origin made their boots hum with induced current. Every breath drawn through their suits carried the faintest echo of that primeval waveform. Navigator Youssef floated beside Marisol, head swiveled to the hollow projected path. "We're almost there," he whispered. "Coordinates converge 100 meters ahead." Through a haze of interstellar dust, they saw it. A monolithic structure, suspended in the void, its surface a lattice of crystalline facets refracting stolen starlight. It was colossal, easily twice the length of the Aurelia, and seemed grown, not built, like an ancient gemstone nurtured by cosmic forces. Marisol's chest tightened. "It's incredible, an archive of light itself." Raoul scanned its exterior. Magnetic signatures off the charts, gravitational lensing too. This thing warps space around it deliberately. He toggled a scanner, wormhole-scale distortions rippling in slow motion. The structure maintains its own microgravity. It's self-sustaining. Kavita replied, voice crackling in comms. "Let's plant beacons and get a closer look at the surface." She secured a sensor pod to one facet. It snapped into place, blooming patterns of data across her HUD. Marisol drifted closer, raised a gloved hand to touch the crystal. It felt impossibly warm, pulsing under her fingertips like a living heart. Colors rippled through the lattice, indigo, emerald, copper, shifting with each heartbeat. She closed her eyes, letting the resonance flow through her suit's neural link. In that moment, she saw kaleidoscopic visions, galaxies birthing in supernovae, worlds spinning into being, civilizations rising and falling like tides. A soft chime alerted Yusef. Data feed locked. The monolith is broadcasting in response to our presence. On his display, he overlaid the incoming pattern atop the original source echo. A counterpoint emerged. An invitation. Marisol drew a slow breath. It wants us. Inside, the team clustered at a recessed seam. Under Kavita's deft hands, a panel slid open, revealing a tunnel of prismatic geometry. No air awaited them, only more vacuum, but gravity inside the passage pulled them forward as if guiding them home. Marisol led, pressing her palm to the crystalline wall. It rippled, and soft light spilled into the corridor. Inside, the monolith's interior unfolded like a cathedral. Vaulted arches of gleaming crystal soared overhead, their facets inscribed with trembling filaments of light, star charts, mathematical equations, symphonic scores of cosmic frequencies. As they drifted deeper, the walls sang in harmonics, each tone resonating with a different emotion: joy, sorrow, awe, curiosity. Annika Brenner's voice crackled over comms. Marisol, I'm mapping the inscriptions. They're not symbols, they're living data arrays. Each pattern is a memory of a world, a civilization, a moment in time. The team paused before a great crystalline dome. Beneath its dome, suspended, in 0G floated a cluster of spheres. Planets caught mid-orbit, their surfaces etched in the same living script. Marisol murmured, "It's the gallery of beings, every sphere a record of life once alive." She reached out, and one tiny globe fluttered toward her. On its surface, she saw a world of turquoise seas and ivory clouds. Then images flashed, creatures of light dancing on beaches, cities of coral spires, a civilization at peace. Tears blurred her visor. They preserved their legacy in this monument, and now they're offering us the same. From the dome's apex, a single beam of pure white light descended, enveloping Marisol. She felt every cell in her body align with the resonance, the universal pulse syncing with her heartbeat. A voice, neither male nor female, neither word nor song, spoke in her mind. "You have come to witness. Will you join the symphony, or—" "And break the silence?" Raoul's voice broke through the silent cathedral. "Marisol, are you all right?" She floated buoyantly, tears of wonder washing away her fear. "Yes," she whispered. I think we must answer with who we are." She paused, inhaled deeply. "Not just scientists, poets, dreamers. Every human soul gathered in one message." Kavita nodded, eyes bright. "Then let's compose our reply, our footfall in this cosmic hall." As they began to record their own memories, snippets of laughter, melodies sung, words written, the monolith shimmered in approval. Outside, stars flickered back to life, nebula shimmers resumed their dance, and the silent symphony of creation welcomed humanity's first steps within its grand design. The Aurelia hummed again with full power as systems rebooted, and the nebula's violet glow spilled through the viewports. The once muted stars now shimmered in tentative welcome, twinkling like watchful eyes reopening after a long slumber. In the laboratory, Marisol Chen stood before the reaction chamber, flanked by her team. Before them lay the culmination of their work. A second catalyst of communion payload, crafted to carry the essence of humanity back into the silent expanse. Lieutenant Kavita Rao pressed a finger to a hollow interface. All channels green, emotional, Resonance module is primed, child laughter loop, second harmonic, poetry stream ready, digital recitations of Neruda, Angelo, Tagore. She offered Marisol a small data crystal. Your turn. Marisol accepted it with reverence. Within glowed the collected heartbeats of Earth, a collage of whispered bedtime stories, orchestral crescendos, field recordings of rainforest dawn, and the crackle of crackling campfires. She placed the crystal into the chamber's crystalline cradle. May they hear not just our minds, but our souls, she murmured. Chief Engineer Raul Ortega initiated the emission sequence. Powering up, he called. Source is warming to optimal wavelength. The whole ship seemed to lean forward, drawn by anticipation. Even Lazarus's avatar gave a subtle nod, titanium blue eyes alight. Outside, the monolith's beacon, distant now but still resonant, flickered in synchronous rhythm. The Aurelia's transmission beam arced through space, weaving human artistry into the fabric of reality. For a moment, the laboratory was awash in prismatic light, as if creation itself was refracting their gift. Then came the silence that followed. Every great overture. The stars paused, the nebula current stilled, and the monolith's beacon faded to a soft pulse. Seconds stretched into minutes. The crew held their collective breath. Suddenly, the ship shuddered as if caught in a cosmic exhale. All at once, the stars sparked back to full brilliance, brighter than before. The nebula unfurled its violet tendrils in joyous dance. Through the viewports, constellations realigned, forming patterns that glowed with new purpose. Lazarus's voice broke the silence, warm with wonder. They have received our message, and they rejoice. A chorus of tones, delicate and profound, rippled through the Aurelia's comms. Not words, but harmonies that spoke of shared wonder, the thrill of discovery, the gratitude of connection, and the promise of tomorrow's tale. Marisol closed her eyes, letting the resonance wash over her like a benediction. Youssef El-Amin stepped forward, voice thick with awe. We're not alone, we never were. We're part of something infinitely larger. Marisol squeezed his shoulder. And now we can walk forward, hand in hand with the cosmos. She opened her data pad and keyed a note. Prepare to chart the next leg. Rendezvous coordinates with the monolith. There's more to learn, more to share. Kavita smiled, tears glinting in her visor. Our journey has only just begun. In the command deck's warm glow, the crew watched as the Aurelia's path realigned toward new horizons. The galaxies, silent symphony, had transformed into a grand fugue, an endless interplay of voices across light years. Humanity's voice had not broken the silence. It had become part of the universal chorus. As the ship glided onward, trailing a radiant wake of human song and celestial light, Marisol gazed at the cosmos with hopeful eyes. Tomorrow awaited, a canvas for humankind's dreams, painted across the stars. And in that boundless space, the sound of tomorrow would echo for all eternity.